In this video, we're going to be solving what are known as two-step equations, and that's because they involve more than one step to solve. So let's jump right in. Our first equation is 47 equals negative 3 plus 8y. Now remember, our goal in solving equations is to isolate the variable. So let's do it. Let's get y by itself. And the first thing I'm going to do in order to do that is to add 3 to both sides of this equation. So 47 plus 3 will then equal negative 3 plus 3 plus 8y. All right, and as a result of that, 47 plus 3 is 50, and negative 3 added to 3 would be 0, and 0 plus 8y would be 8y. All right, now that I've got it down to this, what I need to do is I need to divide both sides by 8 to isolate y. So I'm going to do that here. 50 divided by 8 equals 8y divided by 8. Now, on the right side, 8 divided by 8, of course, would be 1, which means I would have 1y, which is the same as y. And on this side, I would have 50 over 8. Now, I'm going to simplify that fraction, and that would become, by dividing the numerator and the denominator by 2, 25 over 4. And I'm going to leave it in that form. I'm not going to turn it into a decimal or into a mixed number. And if you're curious as to why, it's a great question. I'm going to show you. Because if I leave it in that form and I want to do a proof, in other words, I want to substitute in 25 over 4 for y, it's going to be a lot easier to use it. Let me show you what I mean. If I were to say that 47 equals negative 3 plus 8, and why don't we just use a dot multiplied by 25 over 4, because that's what y is, 25 over 4, notice in this format that I can simplify. I'll do it on my next line. 47 equals negative 3 plus 8 multiplied by 25 over 4. I'm going to put a 1 underneath my 8, just so they both look like fractions now. And as you'll note, the 4 simplifies to a 1. The 8 simplifies to a 2. And let's see what happens. I end up with 47 equals negative 3. The 1 multiplied by 1 is just 1, so I'm good there. What am I adding negative 3 to? 2 multiplied by 25 is 50. And of course, 47 does equal negative 3 plus 50 would be 47. So that's correct. And that's correct. And that is my first example of solving a two-step equation. In my second example, I'm going to be working with a fraction. I've got x over 2 plus 5 equals negative 10. And my first step here is going to be to subtract 5 from both sides. So I've got x over 2 plus 5 minus 5 equals negative 10 minus 5. All right, so plus 5 minus 5, that's going to be 0, and I'm going to now have x over 2 by itself on this one side, on the left side, and that's going to equal negative 10 minus 5. Well, negative 10 minus 5, I'm going to take 5 away from negative 10, which would mean I would be at negative 15. I moved 5 places to the left from negative 10. And now I've got to, isolate that x. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply both sides of this by 2 over 1. Use some parentheses to indicate multiplication. And I'm going to write this as negative 15 over 1 multiplied by 2 over 1. And let's simplify. This 2 and this 2 would simplify, which would leave me with x equaling negative 15 multiplied by 2 would be negative 30. And that would be another example of a two-step equation.